Hey everyone, Catherine here. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about twin flames. For some reason, I just felt compelled to talk about it. Maybe it's because more people are starting to identify as a twin flame and they're wondering if they have their twin flame or if they've met their twin flame. There's just a lot of questions behind the idea. So I just wanted to give some clarification or at least my own personal opinion about the matter. So I do identify as a twin flame. I did meet my twin in 2018, which was shortly after my astral projection started. So that tends to coincide with twin flames, is that it's usually accompanied by spiritual awakening. So since I met my twin, things happened since then, and now that I have fully experienced it and sat with it and really integrated all of the information and then also channeled more information about the subject, I feel that I'm in a pretty good place to speak on the matter. I will admit that in the middle of the journey, though, I probably didn't have the best judgment when it comes to that connection because, as most people know that are twin flames, it is a very volatile and tumultuous journey. It's really intense, and when you're constantly being triggered all the time because of the journey, it makes it difficult to have a good objective opinion. So now that I feel that I'm pretty much at the end of it, now I can have a good opinion on the subject for anybody who might be struggling with the twin flame journey. But before we get started, I do want to say thank you to the subscribers and the commenters. I actually really appreciate it when you engage with me because it makes me feel less alone when it comes to this subject. I have been a nurse for the majority of my adult life, and so that is the kind of setting that I've always been in, and those are the types of conversations that I am so used to having. And so when it comes to spirituality and astral projection and twin flames, that's not something that I felt so freely comfortable to talk about with a lot of people. And so, YouTube has given me the ability to put myself out there and to gain feedback from people that are like-minded. And so it's just nice and it's validating and I really appreciate it. So I just want to say thank you for being there, being here and making this journey a little more tolerable and making me feel like I'm less insane. So that's it. Thank you. Okay, so twin flames. First of all, let me just start off by saying that I do not mean to offend anyone. Okay, I'm not picking a side or anything like that. I'm just giving my own personal opinion because I've gone through it and I'm now on the other side of it, which is great because I have a perspective from beginning, middle to end. And so I have noticed that the twin flame community, it can be divided. And there's a lot of stone throwing and there's a lot of ego involved when it comes to the twin flame journey, unfortunately. And hey, it takes one to know one, okay? So I'll admit it. I don't mean to offend anyone. And that just goes without saying that, if any of the information I say resonates with you, then let it help you and use that information. If it doesn't resonate with you, then that's totally okay. Not all of the information is going to resonate with you. So just take what works, leave what doesn't. I think part of the reason why it tends to divide people is because when you're in different stages of the twin flame journey, you're going to have a different perspective. And this journey is very triggering. And so you're just going to be a little bit more sensitive about the matter anyway, because you're going through this awakening, you're going through this journey, you find out that you really are a twin flame, but then other people kind of don't validate that that's a possibility and just kind of blow you off. So I get it. I've been there. I 100% do believe that twin flames are real. There's really no denying. If you really identify as a twin flame, then there's no doubt in your mind that it's real. But on that note, I do want to say that the universe, God, spirituality in general, it's all very convoluted. It's a very complex organism. And the idea of twin flames tries to simplify it, but really, even twin flames doesn't give it full justice because God itself is way more complicated than anybody could ever imagine. And I find that the more you learn about your awakening and spirituality in general, once you step out of any box, right, and you start to learn about the universe and all of its secrets, the more you learn that you don't know anything at all. And so the more answers you gain, for one answer, you have like 100 questions. And so it truly is a journey, a lifelong journey. And you're really not going to know all of the answers probably until you're gone from this plane and you go back to where we all go. So don't put any pressure on knowing all the answers. But hey, if you find any answers that resonate with you in this video, then please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more content. But yeah, let's just dive right in. So from what I've seen through meditation and downloads and things like that, we have to start with God, right? God is the beginning and the end of everything. God, in my opinion, from what I've seen, God is everything. And there really is nothing that you see in front of you that isn't God. Okay. And so it's very complex. And everything that you see, whether it's me, another person, a rock, a tree, inanimate objects, animals, all of these are pieces of God. They're just different aspects of God. What I believe, the reason for existence itself is so that God can experience itself in different aspects. And so we are all different aspects of God, but we are all part of God. We are all part of a greater whole, which emphasizes why it's so important to be kind to one another and why the laws of karma work the way they work. Because as long as you are kind to others and kind to animals and you give out good energy to those that are around you, you are giving it to yourself. And therefore that karma ends up coming back because again, you're giving it to yourself. Same goes with, putting out bad energy or being cruel to others. You may not feel the immediate consequences at the time, but you will eventually get them back at some point. So twin flames is just another way for God to experience itself and to gain more spiritual wisdom over time. Twin flames are part of the three main spiritual connections that most people are familiar with. There's twin flames, soulmates, and karmic relationships. All three of those are, in my opinion, equally important because one relationship, one thing, doesn't override another. But I also have this opinion about most things, right? I don't feel that humans are more important than animals or that aliens are more important than humans, okay? Although we are different aspects of the whole, we are still part of the whole. So one way for God to experience itself is to have different fractals and different aspects incarnate on a planet. So if we are the fractals, then we are the souls that will incarnate on planet Earth. When we incarnate, what will happen is that we will split off to respect the binary system of planet Earth. And it's not just planet Earth, I'm just going to use that as an example. But twin flames is actually a concept that is beyond this planet. So when we incarnate on planet Earth, our soul comes to this planet to respect a binary system. The binary system is the duality. The duality has to exist because God has to have something opposite of itself in order to understand what it is, right? It has to have a frame of reference. So there has to be a thing, and then there has to be an opposite thing so that each thing knows what they are compared to each other. The soul will come to this planet, but in order to have something to compare itself to, it will split into two. These two aspects will primarily be seen as the masculine or the feminine aspect, the yin and yang of the whole. This is all put in simple terms too, by the way. This subject is way more complicated, but this is just to be put in simple terms. When the soul incarnates into two different aspects, both aspects, the masculine and the feminine, may incarnate on the planet at the same time, or they may not. One may choose to stay behind and serve as a spirit guide for the one that is on the planet. One may decide to live on the opposite side of the planet. They may decide to not even be on this planet at all. They may decide to not incarnate or do anything and just rest. The possibilities are infinite. The most popular concept of twin flames is going to be of the romantic sense, but twin flames are not limited to being romantic partners. They can be anyone. Twin flames can literally be a relationship between a parent and a child, siblings, cousins, animals, spirits, anything. But the reason why we identify twin flames in the romantic sense is because I would argue that a romantic partnership is one of the most powerful ways to get a lesson learned. Sure, you can learn lessons from your parents, from your siblings, from acquaintances, or people who have just done you wrong. You can learn great lessons from those, absolutely. But what is more powerful than falling in love with someone and then having your heart broken? It's profound. And I think because it's so profound and it's so powerful, people just understand that there's something different about this one, and that there is a spiritual component to this person or to this relationship. So although you may have a twin flame in your life that is actually a parent, so therefore you may not identify as a twin flame, it's still definitely a possibility. But what is also possible is that you are not interacting with your twin flame, and it could have just been something that sparked an idea in your head, or it's just become a popular subject, and so you're kind of grasping onto that. That's totally possible too. But ultimately, everyone is a twin flame. From what I have gathered, it is actually pretty rare to meet your twin flame in a lifetime. But of course, if you're in the twin flame community, then it's not going to feel that rare. So how do you know if you are a twin flame and you are on a twin flame journey with a particular person? You will just know. First and foremost, you're just going to know. You're probably going to get a lot of signs prior to even meeting this person. Maybe you'll have dreams about them before you actually meet them. It's going to have a very spiritual component to it, and it will happen immediately. With a lot of soulmate connections, what happens is when we meet them, they feel super familiar, and it's like we've known them forever, and you're very comfortable, and it flows really easily, and it's great. With twin flames, it's 10 times more powerful than that. And when I say more powerful, I mean you just instantly know. There is no doubt in your mind at all that there's something here. But what will accompany a twin flame meeting is a great spiritual awakening. A lot of twin flames out there, they'll maybe have some sort of feeling that they're going to meet someone or something big is going to happen. Then they meet their twin flame, and instantly it's like love at first sight. Like, we are supposed to be together. I can feel it. And then after that, just boom, 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 the spiritual doors just start to open. Psychic abilities will start to develop. You'll start to see synchronicities. The synchronicities are a big sign of a twin flame journey. You might see repeating numbers all the time when you're with this person. You might see their name on a billboard or just see their name constantly. You'll see things that just remind you of them if they work at a particular place, and then you just constantly see that line of work. For me in particular, when I met my twin flame, I immediately knew that there was something going on here. It was dramatic, sure, but I had already been going through astral projections, and I was already going through like a thing that I really couldn't talk about. And then I met him, and I immediately started seeing past lives together immediately. And it's when I do past life regressions, they look different every time. Sometimes when I sit there and meditate and really work hard on it, the images will come slowly and I'll see them drawn out, and I will just see the lifetime play out before me. Then sometimes I will meet someone and instantly see a lifetime, and it's like a flash. With this person, I saw just flashes of lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. It was quite overwhelming. And then after that, we both kept seeing the same repeated number over and over again, whether we were together or we were apart. And then we would take a picture and like send it to each other and just think that it was so weird. And it wasn't a typical angel number, right? It wasn't like 222 or 333. It was a specific sequence of numbers that were very unique. Well, the numbers just so happened to be his birthday, which is the day that we met. So you'll just see lots of signs that can't be explained. Another sign that you've met your twin flame is you just have this magnetic draw to them for no reason at all. They can be the complete opposite of you, which they most often are, because although the soul essence is the same, the ego bodies are often complete opposites. And yet you are just greatly attracted to them, and there is just this pull to one another. Their behavior can literally be a bunch of red flags. It can be deal breakers. It can be all of those things, but you don't care because you've seen all the signs. You've seen the past lives. You feel this magnetic draw. They feel the magnetic draw. So it doesn't matter. You're willing to look past it just to be with them. Another sign is that usually the masculine aspect will not acknowledge the twin flame connection. They will, and okay, let me clarify something. When I'm saying masculine and feminine, I just mean the essence. I don't mean the man or woman, because a woman can have a masculine essence. Like, I'm very masculine in a lot of ways. And, you know, a man can have a high essence of femininity. Okay, so it's just the essence. I don't mean man or woman. But typically, the masculine essence won't really acknowledge the twin flame connection. They'll typically not even believe in it. They won't believe in a lot of things that you believe in, or the conspiracy theories that you talk about. It's just part of that polarity. But what's interesting is that they may not believe in it, but they still see the weird signs that you do too. And they'll blow it off as coincidences, but of course, you know better. Another sign that you've met your twin flame is you feel physically different around them. You may feel like you're slightly intoxicated. You just don't know why. Like, you've had a glass of wine, but you most certainly didn't. I know for me personally, when I would be around this person, I had to be careful. At the time, I drank alcohol. Like, I would go out with friends and, you know, go to the bar and things like that. And I don't do that anymore. But I remembered that I knew that I needed to be careful around him for some reason, because I felt even more intoxicated. So I really had to watch like my alcohol intake around this person. And for whatever reason, that sensation has gotten stronger over time. So even if it's a text message or a phone call, I can feel that I get altered in some way. Another sign that you've met your twin flame is if you compare your astrological chart, your human design chart, and your numerology numbers. So then this is from what I've read, and it just so happened to be true for me. From what I've read, if you compare your birth charts, the twin flame, the masculine, will typically, their sun sign will be the feminine's moon sign. So the masculine's sun sign will be the feminine's moon sign. Numerology, most of your numbers will be the same, specifically the life path number. And then the human design charts will just be eerily similar. And of course, if that's not the case, that doesn't mean that you guys aren't twin flames. Again, way more complicated of a subject than to just simplify it into these little things. But these are just similarities that people have noticed over time, obviously, which is how we're just kind of gathering this data. What are some of the common issues that twin flames will have? Well, because although you are the same soul within two bodies, and the bodies are masculine and feminine, and that's just one way that they're different or that they're opposite, you just tend to be complete opposites in so many regards. You may be spiritual and really focusing on your health and your own growth and wanting to help people, and they may be doing drugs and drinking every day and very selfish and maybe have some narcissistic tendencies, right? So just opposites in a lot of ways. Another issue is that you might get treated poorly. Most of the time, most of the twin flames that I've ever met, including myself, become a empath versus narcissist type of situation. And then when the runner-chaser dynamic begins, it becomes a anxious attachment versus the avoidant attachment scenario. And even though you both feel greatly connected to one another, and the feminine aspect usually knows that we are twin flames, it still just becomes a very volatile and triggering experience because they do not treat you well. And it's hard for you to understand. And the toxicity can get pretty bad. I mean, there can be infidelity, substance abuse. Although they are greatly drawn to you, they refuse commitment and choose to be more promiscuous than anything. Because of how devastating this relationship and connection can be, it tends to send the awakened one into a dark night of the soul, which ultimately helps you awaken on a spiritual level. This is actually a good way to know if you really are in a twin flame journey. There are plenty of people out there who have been with their partners for decades, and it's been an incredible relationship. They love each other so much and they understand each other. And it's, although they've had their ups and downs, for the most part, it's been a positive experience. I have a hard time really believing that that is actually a twin flame connection. That sounds more like a soulmate connection, because soulmates, and we'll talk about this in another video, but soulmates are very complementary, and we need our soulmates in our lives to help us kind of achieve what we're trying to achieve in a nice, supportive way. Rather, twin flames help us grow spiritually, but it's in a much more volatile and intense way that ultimately is just kind of heartbreaking. There's a journey, right? The twin flame journey. You meet them, it's love at first sight, it's intense, and then all of the problems start to develop, and then you separate. You go into separation, and then the runner and chaser dynamic begins. This is where many people get stuck for years because it's so intense, and you know beyond a shadow of a doubt that they are your twin flame and this is a spiritual thing that's happening. They're just going to deny it and just put you through more pain than you rightfully deserve. And so while you're trying to work through this connection and understanding it, you're also going through your own spiritual awakening while also going through a dark night of the soul and just feeling miserable and not being so confused of what the point of any of this is. That's a lot of pressure and a lot of work to place on yourself, all in the name of twin flames. For this reason, the idea of twin flames actually can be very dangerous because if you are in a relationship that is awful, you're not getting the love you deserve, you're not getting the respect that you deserve, but you're staying in it in the name of the twin flame journey, it can put people in a dangerous position. And especially if there is physical or verbal abuse, there just is no excuse for any of that. But some people will stay because they feel the spiritual connection. But what they don't realize is that the more you chase after your twin, the more you try to make the connection work, the more they're going to run in the opposite direction. And then once you start to back off from that connection, the more they get pulled towards you, which in itself is toxicity. The reason why it is so difficult and so triggering is because you both are mirroring the issues that you need to heal. And so if you are allowing a person to treat you poorly, they are showing you that you may be suffering from self-worth issues. If you are showing them that you're happy living a sober life and you love helping people, it may be triggering their issues with substance abuse and not feeling like they're accomplishing anything in life. So this triggering and this mirroring is what actually helps our soul evolve spiritually. Another reason why the twin flame idea can be dangerous is because you have full potential to become addicted and obsessed with either the person or with the idea in general. It can be a slippery slope of behaviors. At first, it's love at first sight and you're texting each other and then you're in a relationship for a short period of time and then it becomes toxic and now you're sort of on this runner chaser dynamic. Then you may find yourself constantly checking their social media, constantly checking your phone, waking up thinking about them, going to bed thinking about them, dreaming about them, trying to understand what twin flames are, constantly going on YouTube and watching tarot readings on twin flames or finding twin flame experts. You have full potential to just become obsessed, which it's good to want to understand a concept, but what is the point of being obsessed with the twin flame idea? There is a good point in understanding it fully, but to just have it on your mind and putting out so much energy into the twin flame idea, and then of course putting out so much energy in that person who you know it's a toxic relationship and yet you're just giving all of your energy to it. But if you are like obsessed, it's really not your fault. It's not your fault because if you're getting all of these spiritual downloads and you know damn well that that is your twin flame and you have all these past lives together and there's synchronicities and they can feel the connection, you can feel the connection, of course you're going to be obsessed. It would actually be a little weird if you weren't obsessed, but because you can kind of justify the reasoning is what makes it so dangerous. I mean, I've heard of people going through this for years. I mean, just devastating their families because they have children that they weren't taking care of, becoming physically ill because they're so hyper-focused on the relationship, becoming depressed and having to go on medications. It's a slippery slope, and if you're not careful, you have full potential to end up there. And then of course it doesn't help that there is an online community of twin flames that almost reinforce this idea. There is a lot of information out there that simply isn't true. One idea is that you are meant to be in union with your twin flame, and that is false. This world, this universe is way too complicated for anyone to believe that you are destined to be with this person. No matter what. Doesn't matter how they treat you. Doesn't matter if they won't commit to you. Doesn't matter if they are seeing other people. Because you're meant to be in union, you're going to just tolerate it. And that's just simply not true. Because at the end of the day, this other person, they are still a person. They are still an independent aspect of God who was given free will. And if they choose to use that free will to see other people or to not give you the respect and time and energy that you deserve, then that is their choice. And you can't make them change that. It just is what it is. You have full power to make the decision of whether or not you're going to tolerate it. But to tolerate that in the name of the twin flame journey, it's degrading. And you are also an aspect of God, which is a really big deal. And you and I both know that you deserve better than that. Now, of course, that's not to say that twin flames don't end up together, because some of them do. If that happens, it will be after going through the journey and not surrendering to the relationship or surrendering to the twin flame idea. It can only happen after you surrender to yourself and you come into union with yourself. Because in my humble opinion, the true purpose of a twin flame journey is to get to a place where you don't even need your twin flame anymore, and you don't even need the twin flame idea anymore. You release all of your attachments, all of your expectations, and you come to a place of self-assurance, higher confidence, and self-love, which is the essence of coming into union with yourself. It's after going through that journey, going through the dark night of the soul, being confused while also waking up to other spiritual things, that eventually you just start to integrate that information, and at some point you make a choice that you matter, your feelings matter, your happiness is important, and eventually you'll get to a place of pure and utter peace. And when you get to that place of peace, it just doesn't matter. None of it matters. Once you get to this place of truly letting them go and wishing them well, hoping that they have a happy life themselves, but knowing that you must take care of yourself and you must put yourself first. Eventually, there's something that happens to you. You just change. You really do become this magnificent phoenix that rises out of the ashes. And although you can still acknowledge that twin flames are real and that was a real connection, you are on to greater things now because you've integrated all of that experience and all of that knowledge and all of that wisdom. And then you just choose to move forward and to make a greater impact on the world because of everything that you've learned. Once you get to this point, then you may so choose to be with your twin flame. Not because you're obsessed, not because you know you're meant to be together, because now you know that it doesn't matter if you're with them, because you know that there's a chance that you'll never be with them. And you've come to peace with that. You'll have healthier boundaries. You just simply won't be attached to them. Now, of course, this will be different for everyone. Some of them will be much more romantic. And if they are, it's probably because their twin flame chose to evolve as well and to shift into a higher frequency, thus learning that you deserve a certain type of treatment. And if they have learned that and if they plan to practice that, then yes, of course, you can come into union on the physical plane and be romantically happily ever after. Absolutely. The possibilities are infinite, but it's important for you to know that if you're not in union, that's perfectly okay. You're not doing it wrong. The end result should be you coming to peace within yourself. And if you so choose to just let that person go entirely and open yourself to a different relationship, possibly with a soulmate, then that's okay too. And that actually tends to be more common than actually being with your twin flame. Some will just choose to not be in a relationship at all, and that's okay. That's actually very beautiful because you only build a stronger relationship with yourself. I am not with my twin flame. He is with someone else, and I'm actually very happy for him. Interestingly enough, I remembered having a conversation with him. We were doing this on and off kind of deal for a couple of years, and I had a vision of him with someone, and this vision involved him walking on the beach with a girl, and this girl looked very specific. She was shorter, long dark hair, very cute, and they were really happy together. And I told him about this vision, and I said, I think that she might be the one for you. Of course, he blew me off because, that's just crazy talk, like spiritual nonsense, right? Well, guess who he's with now? Yeah. We've remained friends, and I'll always consider him a friend and, love him dearly. But I chose to let him go. And I have to say that when I really made that choice and meant it, everything shifted. Like I shifted and I felt amazing. It almost felt like chains broke off of me and I felt lighter. And to know that you really are going to be okay and that life really is so beautiful and has so much to offer, and that your energy and your mind gets freed up to focus on the things that truly bring you joy and happiness and things that will have a greater impact on the world. Like that is such a freeing feeling, and it's something that everybody deserves. But of course, this is a journey, and no matter where you are on the journey, we're all in this together, because at the end of the day, we are all one. So I really hope this helped somebody out there. Please let me know your thoughts. If you liked the video, please like it. Please subscribe. If you have any questions, I feel like I have more to say, but I guess I'll just save it for next time. All right, guys, I'll see you later. Bye.